Sharks. Value. Thou shalt not kill. Everyone on the fishing trawler knew about the dangers of sharks. When they brought their nets in, they saw the big dangerous beasts in the water feeding off of what got loose from their catch. Oliver's Uncle Nemo often talked to him about the dangers before he agreed to let him work as cabin boy on the ship for a summer. Oliver was the only kid on the boat, but the sailors liked him, and he learned a lot about fishing from them. The day the ship sank was like any other day, but everybody heard the explosion in the engine room and what it meant when the boat began to tilt because water was filling it from below. They had done drills on this often. Oliver was put in a small life raft boat first, since he was the youngest. He held the rope that tied his raft to the ship, hoping that soon his uncle and some of the men would join him. But suddenly, there was a jolt as the sinking ship jerked in the water. The rope broke, and Oliver's raft began to drift. He called out to the ship as the rest of the men got into boats, and they were yelling back that they would catch up to him. It looked like everybody got off and would be safe, but the waves took him further and further away until Oliver couldn't see anyone anymore. He was alone on the open ocean in a tiny life raft. Oliver knew to conserve his energies, and he found the supplies and sunblock to keep himself safe and healthy while he waited for rescue. That was when he saw the large fin in the water circling his raft. He knew what it was. The great white shark circled and circled as though thinking about what it was going to do. All of a sudden, there was a pop at the back of the inflatable raft. It had sprung a leak. At first, Oliver thought the shark had rammed him, but then he saw the big fish several yards in front of the boat, watching him, so he knew it wasn't the shark's fault. The boat filled with water, and Oliver held on as long as he could. He knew his life vest could keep him afloat, but he also knew that in the water he would certainly become lunch for that big, hungry shark. Finally, the boat collapsed and sank, and Oliver floated in the sea while watching the big fin not far from him. It slowly started moving toward him. About 2 yards away, though, suddenly its head rose out of the water, and Oliver could see its eyes and mouth. "Don't be afraid," it suddenly said. Oliver gasped and sucked in seawater hearing the killer shark speak, but before he could react, it went under and came up between his legs, so Oliver naturally became a rider on the big shark's back. In moments, he was gliding along the ocean surface, riding the huge shark like a horse. The ride went on for a long time, but soon Oliver made out a small island. The shark swam to the island very quickly and found a shallow cove where he delivered Oliver to dry land. "Who are you?" Oliver said to the big fish as it turned circles in the cove. "I am Fairto, the great white shark," it answered, rising up and then going back down when his answer was done. "I am Oliver. Why didn't you kill me?" he asked urgently. "I could see you are a child and were in trouble. I cherish my children as much as your parents do, so I felt compassion to help you. Sharks are not evil killers like you humans sometimes like to think. We gather from nature what we need to eat and raise our families, just like you do." "But I thought sharks live to kill. My uncle calls you a killing machine," Oliver said, confused. "Well, the machines man uses to gather fish from the ocean are as much killing machines as a shark is with his teeth," Fairto observed. "Your uncle gathers fish to sell so you and your family can live well and have things to eat. That is not evil, and that is all I do when I hunt. But when I saw you, I knew you were a youth of your kind, and that you would grow and become a great man of God. To kill you would be murder. God has told all of creation clearly in his commandments, 'Thou shalt not kill.'" Oliver was surprised to hear the fearsome shark speaking of the laws of God.